Hey everybody, welcome in to a Watercolor Wednesday. I am double checking to make sure that we are in fact live. We are. I am double checking to make sure that we are in fact live. We are, guys. So welcome in. I am live on StreamYard, but I do have the iPad fired up over here. So that I can see your comments, hopefully. I am live both tonight on Facebook and also on YouTube. So welcome in. I am Kimberly with Lolly Doodle Studios, Widow on Fire. I am an artist, a hand letterer, and you guessed it, a widow who found her joy and her therapy in painting after the loss of my mother and my husband within a month of each other. So I like to just come live, share a little bit about what I know, what I like to do, and hopefully inspire you to do something creative for yourself today. So with that, I'm going to get going. If you come on, feel free to say hi. Let me know you're here. I just have a few pieces. This is one of the greenery pieces that I've been working on lately. Very light. I wanted to show you the difference with watercolor. This is also watercolor, very dark. So I love that. But the thing about watercolor, I am pretty skilled, I should say, in acrylic. And this year I am determined, I'm very determined to learn all about watercolor. So I wanted to show you first, real quick, the thing about working from acrylic to then watercolor is the way that you can the layering. And it doesn't look like my video is showing up all that great, so I hope that you guys are able to see me. Hi Cindy, hi Jennifer. So I just wanted to show you real quick what I'm talking about is with color. With acrylic you can kind of go from light to dark fairly easily. Let me just grab the dryer. I forgot to grab that, and then I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Sorry, guys. I thought I was all prepped and ready, and I forgot the one important piece that I need for tonight, because who wants to sit around and watch paint dry? Not I. Hey, Michelle Baker. Welcome, welcome. You just walked in the house. I'm going to call you when I'm done, girlfriend. I'm going to call you Miss Michelle, my sister. So I want to show you real quick. I don't want to just keep talking, but I'm just going to pick, because I'm going to be working with a lot of pinks and reds in the watercolor. I want to just grab like a pink as well in my acrylic. So I want to show you, I mean, many of you may already know what I'm talking about, but if you're not sure, I want to be able to just show you visually what the heck I'm talking about, because there is a big difference when you're used to working in acrylic paint. I'm used to being able to grab my acrylic here, and I grab a brush, and I can, put my paint down and do my thing. Okay. And then if I want to go back in that, and that's not exactly dry, but it's getting there. And I'll show you in just a second. I'm going to put a tiny little bit of white there. So if I want to lighten this up now, I know that I can come in here with white paint and I can layer over that. Okay, so I can go from dark to light with acrylic. And when I'm working acrylic, I know exactly what I'm going to do with the paint, what I can do with the paint, and what I'm learning with watercolor, let me start here. I'm going to use my koi water brush set, yeah, koi set tonight. So I'm just misting the paint with some water, and I'm just going to grab some of this pink. Lexi, let him back out again, baby. Thank you. So if I take that pink watercolor now and put it on my paper, and I decide I want to put a white stripe down that, so I'll clean off my brush, and I'm going to dip over here into my white watercolor. They do make white watercolor. Here's what's going to happen if it's wet. I put the white on there to lighten it up, and it does not lighten. I hope that you can see that. I don't know that I can. Opposite than acrylic. So when you're working with watercolor, you have to work from, instead of dark to light, you have to work with your light and then layer on the dark. Guys, let me know if you can see the screen okay. I was hoping that that minor change would help things, but I'm not so sure that it did. So I'm going to grab my little watercolor book. And it's $5 at the Hobby Lobby. I just grabbed this. I love that it's small. I don't feel as bad if what I'm teaching myself does not turn out exactly how I want it, because I feel like I'm not wasting my paper. So I'm just going to get out my little 6x6 piece of paper, and I'm just going to grab my washi tape. Guys, can I tell you, it smells so good in here. I came home from work and made a huge pot of meatballs. So they are simmering on the stove, and it smells amazing. So I'm going to take my washi tape. It should be sticky enough to, and I'm not going to go right to the edge. I'm actually going to come in. This is going to be basically, I'm going to do hearts for Valentine's Day, but I'm not shooting for like any specific design. I'm more working. Hey Molly, how are you, girl? Welcome in. I'm more going to work on, all I'm going to do is hearts. I'm going to layer hearts, and I'm going to play with the shapes, and I am going to play and experiment with the color blending and layering. So I'm not going to worry too much about this being perfect, but I'm going to tape down my paper because I want to have, if I can, keep a nice little crisp line square in my paper. So very lightly, I'm going to grab my pencil, and I'm just going to start off by drawing. And if you can't draw a heart, don't worry about it. Just draw circles, draw squares. Tonight, all I'm doing right now is experimenting with the layering of the color. So I've got that pink that I got off of my palette. Move some stuff out the way. And I'm just going to make that a nice pale wash of pink, hopefully. Let me add a little bit more water. I want it to be really pale. So if you can see very lightly, I've got the hearts in there. I'm just going to take this watercolor now, and I'm just going to wet the whole square that I taped off with that color. I can add some more in when it's soaking wet, but I want my color to just kind of move across the page. Okay, so that I have on there now is going to be the lightest part of all that we do. So I'm going to dry it real quick. Who here already experiments with watercolor and they understand what I'm talking about, with that you have to work from light. It's like almost backwards from acrylic. So let me know in the comments if you already understand what I'm saying. And if you have any tips for assistance. So let me just dry this really quick. All right, so it's now dry. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to come back in with my pencil and I'm going to draw maybe 2 or 3 more hearts. I'm just going to vary them. I don't need for them to be perfect. Now, what I need to remember is that I want to leave the 2 that I put on first. I want to leave a few of these in that light shade of pink. So now I can come back over here and grab my watercolor. I'm just going to come back in and grab some more of that pink. Put a little bit more. And I'm going to make that color just a little bit darker. Might be a lot darker. We'll see. So then I'm going to come in and I know, see, that's going to be a bit darker and that's fine. So I want to keep that heart light. So I'm just going to come around with my watercolor and I'm going to surround the 2 hearts that I want to keep the lighter pink inside. Now, everything else, let me get some more water there. Everything else that I do, I'm now just going to fill in that square again. And I probably could have waited and drew the extra hearts in afterward. So the trick is to make enough paint so that you can get across the whole bit of the paper. Keeping the color like somewhat, doesn't have to be one flat shade of pink. So I can pull some of that color over. And I want to blend it. It's drying pretty quick. So I technically didn't want to get that line there, but I should be able to blend it out some by putting, I'll put a darker bit of a wash in there. Okay. So my 2 hearts that we did with the first wash are going to stay that lighter shade of pink. So I've darkened the paper up. Let me dry it again now. I'm not worrying so much about perfection as I am learning how to save the lighter color. Okay. So we've got that. Let me check. I cannot see comments for some reason. I know, Molly, I like the mottled look too. Like, that's what I think I love the most about watercolor, is that it's so soft. So I'm going to go back in with my pencil because I can't really see the hearts that I just drew before I put this color on. And I'm just going to darken them a bit. So now we're going to go again, but we're going to leave the 2 lighter ones light, and we're going to leave these 3 this pink. And I'm going to mix up a good bit more paint because I really need a lot of paint in order to keep layering. So I'm going to put a lot of water in there. And I'm going to try to grab some more of this pink. Really make that pink pink. I'm going to just drop a little bit right there to see. All right, so that's going to be even pinker, I think, than the first wash. But in order to be safe, I'm going to come right next to my pink and grab some of the red. I'm going to add some of the red in there, and it's going to change the color enough so that we can see a change, hopefully, if I'm doing this right, guys. So now I'm going to try to go carefully around. Nope, and it's still not enough. So you know what? I'm going to grab a bit of my purple, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that to the pink. So that's going to give us a different shade. So I'm going to work now, and maybe not enough still. So see, this is all an experiment of learning, and I kind of like the pink and the red and the purple together. So we'll go over and darken that one. So I'm going to go around that heart. I'm going to spread it out. I'm going to try to go around this one nice and careful. Look, we're not going for perfection. I'm kind of just learning. I'm studying the way the colors layer and how to add value. That went in a little bit, but it's fine. So I'm going to bring that around. I'm going to fill this part of the paper in. Keep coming. I'll add some more purple. Let's get around this heart. Let's come around this side. I can pull some of that purple away with my brush. And the paper is starting to buckle, which watercolor paper does. But I'm just going to try to keep working from the wet parts. And I like how some of these are even more purple. Maybe not that much purple. I like how that background is even getting more purple in some areas than it is the pink. Go around this heart. Pull that color across. Is this something you guys think that you would do? Oh, do you like using the watercolor pencil? Is that what you're talking about? I do have some of them. I'll have to pull them out and play around with them. I think they might be over in my hand lettering bin over there. But you see how we worked from the light pink up to the darker shade of pink to now we've added, and it looks in the screen really, really pink, but it looks more purple to me right now, but that doesn't even matter. So let me dry this layer. That should be good. I really like that. I really, really like that layer that we did. So I'm going to now And I'm not worried too much if I get some seepage under the tape, because in a few minutes we're going to take that off. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to draw some more hearts, and it's okay if it goes outside of the box. I'm going to draw, let's see, a really nice big one in here. Not loving the shape of that. I'm going to put another one down here, kind of on an angle. So we have 1, 2, 3. I really like the way that it blended right here. So I'm going to bump another little heart right there in the corner. And I know you might not be able to see it right now in the camera, but I can see it. So now I've got my color that we used just now with the purple in it. And we need to make it, because remember, we can't go back lighter on top of the dark. So now I need to add a color that will make it darker. So I want to stay in my range between the pinks, the purples, and the blues. I want to stay in those cool colors. But I can also add in some black, which I have right here. And that's really going to darken up and change that color. You can almost see it here in the well of the watercolor. So now I'm going to come in and I'm going to just try to go around those edges of those hearts. I could have done it with just plain water and then dropped in the color, but this works just as well. And you can always come in and add little drops to darken it up even more. Like, I like the addition of that black in there. Maybe not quite that much, but it's all going to work out in the wash here. Get that? Work out in the wash. I'm such a dork. But anyway, now let me drop some of this color in. I got too much there. Now, if you have a thirsty brush, if you get like too much on there, you guys may already know this, but hey, if you're learning right along with me, I'm sharing what I've learned. I'm going to take a brush that's wet, but not super wet. This is my thirsty brush. When I touch that thirsty brush to that color, it pulls it right off. So you can erase somewhat with watercolor. Somewhat. And if you're really patient, it works even better. So I'm just going to go ahead now and I can pull some of the color off with my brush. I want to just try to keep working it from where it's wet to wet so it doesn't dry with any of those really weird, harsh lines that I got earlier. I hope you can see. So I'm just dropping that even darker color in. But do you see how, like, if you were doing this with acrylic, you could start with a black background and work yourself up to white, but you're not able to do that strictly with watercolor. I know, like, you can use gouache to lighten and add highlights after you're done with the watercolor. But I really want to just kind of practice and learn more about leaving that negative space, the lighter color of the space, alone. Right, so we're getting there, guys. I mean, it just takes a little bit of practice A little bit of patience, but it's not hard. You could do this with any watercolor set. Like Molly said, you could use watercolor pencils and then just come in with a wet brush. That will pull the color out. So I want to get as close as I can there. When I hit that with water, it'll start pulling it out. And we'll go around this last heart. And we'll do, I think, one more layer after this. Just one. I don't think we could do too many more layers because I put a lot of black in this layer. But I'm loving it. I love it. All right, so one more. Let me dry. One more dry here. Hold your ears. All right, so when that's dry, I think you guys got a pretty good view of it. It's not as black as I originally thought it was going to be, which I'm actually kind of happy about. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull off my little frame that I made with my washi tape. And it's, thank God, I don't want to speak too quick, but it is coming off pretty good. And I don't see very much bleed through. Now I just have to get it off. But see how I made that little border with the washi tape. So there's a nice clean little box. We could leave it there if we want, but I want to add one more layer. I want to go one more shade darker, one more layer. Now, I can go back in real quick, and I might do that and pull. And I want you to see this. We'll use that. Now we're not going to be able to do that. We already darkened the color too much. But this next one, we'll see. Let's see what happens. It's going to be interesting to see what the same color watercolor looks like on this side versus outside of the block on the white paper. So I'm going to add one more little heart here coming off of the paper. I'm going to add another one here. I just want bits of it coming off. Let's see. We'll add one here. And let's see. I like this right here, so I want to save that. Let's put one more little heart coming off the bottom there. So we're adding 4 more little hearts. Am I going out of view, guys? Just yell at me. I do that all the time. I forget, even though I'm talking, that I have to keep the paper in a certain area for you guys to see it. So we're going to go one more shade darker with our color by adding more black in. And I'm going to go pretty dark here. Pretty dark. I didn't think that one through. But this is part of learning. This is part of learning. You know what I'm going to do with this next layer? That's what I was thinking. I'm going to go inside of these 4 hearts. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to fill the inside of this heart in with my really dark pinkish purple. And I'm going to bring it out onto the sides. But you can see where this side is a lot more opaque versus this side. Well, maybe you can't see it in the camera. I can see it. I hope you guys can see what I'm talking about. And you'll more than likely be able to see it once we get this layer dry. So I'm going to color in the inside of this set of hearts. And it looks pretty black, but it's got like a really, you can see the cool purple undertone in there. No, we're going to leave that one. Let's add this one here is going to go dark. But do you see here, you can see the transparency on this one, where you can see the line from our original square. Because watercolor, it uses that white of the paper to really make it transparent. Like the light is coming up underneath of the paint. So we can make this as big or as small as we want. Okay, and I can even put maybe a few more here. So I'm going to dot that. Let's make another heart coming up and out. Smaller. We'll do a small one here. We'll pull our circles. Maybe I'll just do one more here. Kind of half on, half off. Is this something you think you guys feel comfortable or would give a try? I mean, it's something simple for Valentine's. You could do this on a big scale. You could keep it small. So we're just going to leave that. Let me fix. I don't like the way that one looks. Fix this heart just a bit. And then I don't know if you guys are like me and you do the watercolor too or play with the watercolor. This is my favorite part, right? I take a bunch of the watered down paint on my big old brush. And I take another brush and then I just tap, tap, tap. To me, the watercolor is not finished without a few little tap, tap, taps. Right? So the black. And look, I can go back in and grab some of that pink. Let's do that too. And we'll tap, tap, tap some of that darker pink in there too. All right. And then there is our study of the watercolor going different values from light to dark, because we cannot go dark to light with watercolor. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments if this is something that you think you would feel comfortable doing. Maybe later after this dries completely, I might come in and do some lettering work on it, but I'm not 100% sure. Molly, I'm sure it would look just as good. I know, right? It gives it like some depth. It looks like they're kind of popping out through the square. Let me dry it real quick and then we'll get a final view. so that's pretty well dry. I am more than thrilled with the results. I hope that you guys like this as well. Let me know if it is something that you would try um, yourself. And if you do, come back and put the picture of your finished piece in the comments or tag me on your social media so that I can see it as well. You can catch me here every Wednesday live on Facebook, Lolly Doodle Studios, Widow on Fire, as well as live on YouTube. All right, guys, go enjoy your Wednesday. Remember, the season of love is coming up upon us. So I want to see your Valentine artwork as well. Have a good night. I am going to go make myself a nice meatball sandwich, and I will talk to you soon. I love you guys. Bye.